today we'll be looking at one of the attribution models. So using higher order Markov chains. Okay. Typically Markov chains are graph-based frameworks. So when you go from one state to another, that depends on the previous state you were in. So the chance of an event happening at a specific node depends on the previous node. So that is what in general a simple Markov chain is about. Okay. So if you look at this marketing attribution situation, right? So there's a customer, they first look at one of your advertisement or marketing material on any one platform, then they might get sensitized to it on another platform, so they move from one state to another. And
a quick request, if you can please maybe on show a picture involving a Markov chain. I think that will help everyone just get a sense of what it is.
Okay. So we have three states here, right? So moving from state 1 to state 3 is the probability to go from state 1 to state 3 is P1 to 3. The probability to be recurrent on state 1 is P1 to 1. So likewise, so these are three nodes or states, and the chance that an event can happen from by moving from one state to another is shown in terms of the probability. So here you have cloudy, rain, sunny, right? So what is the state that is going to come up next depends upon what state you currently are. So if it is sunny, there is a 50% chance that it will be sunny again, and a 40% chance that it can change to cloudy, and only a 10% chance that it can rain. So what state is going to be next depends a lot upon the current state that you're in. That is what is modeled by Markov chains.
So just open this up, the one that I just okay. Just to add to that, maybe so are you guys able to see that? There is a start, there is a beach, and sport and injury. And then the mountains, and then you have you can either go to relaxation, no injury, or you can go to sport and injury or no injury, right? You see this thing? So essentially what's going on is it visible and clear, that particular picture, everyone?
Yes, Chaitanya.
Yes. Yeah, okay, all right. So let's go. So here it is. So what it is showing here is, see, what we want to do is we want to predict whether there will be an injury or no injury. Okay, and and these are all the various possible events, right? So from start, and each of them has a probability. So you can see from start, you can go to beach, 30%, or mountain 70%. Okay, and then from beach you could go to sport 10%, and then you have 90% for relaxation. Right, again from sport, injury, non-injury, etc. And similarly mountains, go to sport, relaxation, and then injury, no injury. Right. So from relaxation, there is no injury, by the way. That's a very good thing. So the idea here being, we want to predict whether there will be an injury or not. And we know that there are various series of activities or events that can happen. Right. And depending on the path, the final probability will be determined. Okay, so this is a very simple scenario where you have just two outcomes each, and then there is an outcome, eventual outcome at the end. So what could happen is that there could be a number of things that could lead to where predictability is a concern, and there are many events. An example of this is, say, for example, traffic, right? So let's say there is a big, let's say, cricket match, right? What happens after the cricket match? All the people come out at once, and there'll be huge traffic jam. And from there, the traffic jam, sort of keeps expanding its footprint, right? And depending on how small the particular throughput can be on that particular road, right? Then the traffic jam keeps spreading from place to place to place, and eventually it will, sort of like a wave, it will go, right? Like an atom bomb exploding, right? So that is how it will go, and then eventually it will disappear, right? So that is how it would happen. Or take another example of a viral infection, right? You see what happened with COVID. It will go to a certain particular place, and then it will keep expanding. So it depends on these series of events, right, that will take place, and eventually the final outcome, in that particular case, the final outcome would be how many people will get infected. So pharmaceutical companies, for example, would use Markov chain to determine whether or not they should produce a drug and in which quantity, right? And so you can see, this kind of a season, there are lots of viral infections that will keep happening, right? For you to have that medicine on the medical, sort of store, they should have done this kind of a modeling, predicted how many people will want this, and they have to produce that in adequate quantity and distribute it beforehand. Only then it will be available to you when you need it. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So this is an example of a Markov chain modeling. Is that clear, everyone? Okay, all right. So let's proceed forward. Guys, are you there?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, Chaitanya.
All right.
Go ahead, Sina.
Yeah. So this is a research that uses Markov chains to model marketing attribution. All right. So you can define an online customer journey of an individual customer as touch points, okay, over all the marketing channels. And so the ultimate results in this chain would be either a conversion, so meaning the customer buys something, or not a conversion. So here also, like injury and no injury, here there are two results, conversion and null. All right. So this is some research background that they've done. Let me go over. Yeah. So here are the criteria that they wanted to use, to which, based on which they want to evaluate the model. So predictive accuracy, robustness, interpretability, these are some things that they want to use, and algorithmic efficiency at last. Right. Is also one versatility. Now going to the data. So they have 4 data sets. So all 4 are clickstream data sets, right? And these are provided by online advertisers, who have advertised on multiple channels. So they have used cookies to identify a user. So if the same cookie is being tracked and it flows across these multiple ads that they've posted, they assume that it is the same person who is looking at those ads. Okay. And the data sets, they are being provided by companies who are selling apparel and luggage. So these 4 data sets. So one is from the company who sells apparel, and 2, 3, 4 are from, one is from travel agency, and 2, 3, 4 are from apparel and luggage sellers. So this is in short a summary of the data. So each data set includes so many journeys, which is 400,000 journeys approximately. And the average length is 1.3 to 2.5 contacts in terms of the channels, right? And between 1 to 2% of journeys lead to a conversion. So they distinguish between 7 or 8 different online channels, and these channels differ across the different firms that has given the data to the researchers. So that is in short about the data. Now coming to Markov chain. So this is an example Markov graph. So start, channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, conversion, null. Depending on what path the customer takes, right? So the journey can be start C1, C2, C3 conversion, or start C1 end. So then they see the advertisement, they don't buy anything. Then start C2, C3 end, which is this path, right? So depending on the training data, these probabilities are being calculated. Okay. So that's a base model. That's like a simple graph, all right? So this is the example one, but here is the actual graph that they built for this problem. So you have start, affiliate marketing, display ads, SEO, SEA, retargeting, price comparison, newsletter, and finally you have conversion and nulls. Right, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are the 8 channels that they are talking about. There's a start and there's a conversion and null. Right. Now these are the probabilities. Right.
This is a very good example. I think this gives out the problem reasonably well. Okay. Just to add to that, Sima, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So if you look at this, see, I'll tell you how marketers work. Right. So it's some way it's sort of related to how maybe sometimes even doctors work. Right. So you have a symptom, right? And with a doctor, that is, you have a symptom, and you don't know what the cause is. In very simple cases, you know it. Let's say there is a specific viral fever, and it has like 2-3 symptoms. Right? That is a very clear-cut case. So there's probably at least I don't know anything about it, so I would assume it's a clear-cut case. But there will be many instances where something is happening, and you don't know what the cause is. Right? So what they do is they conduct experiments, even though they may not tell you so, right? Because there is a certain probability of that this is the cause, right? They give you a certain drug and they'll see if there is progress. And if there is no progress, then they'll switch the drug. So this is how it works, right? So they don't tell you these things, okay? You think doctor knows everything. Right? So similarly, marketers, what happens is they'll do some activity, right? It can be some advertisement, some affiliate, all of those things. And then they actually see, they are waiting after that, okay? Then they see the conversion, right? Then when the conversion comes, they're like surprised. Oh, there's a conversion, really? Okay. So the conversion has come. Now, some conversions are trickling in. And over a period of time, they do a lot of different activities, okay? And the only count that they have typically is that there is an end result, right? Which is the conversion. Conversion means somebody actually comes and buys your stuff, okay? Now, what happens is over a period of time, a number of different marketing activities are running, simultaneously, right? And see, look at our own, how we buy things, right? So how we buy things, I think in the past about, last 10 years, 15 years, it has changed quite a bit, isn't it? So for example, you go to these days, do you go to a restaurant without looking at reviews? Right?
No.
Unless you are so hungry and that's the only restaurant out there. That's the only time when reviews don't matter, isn't it? Right? But otherwise, you check reviews and only then you walk in if you feel that, you still want to go to that restaurant. But for many other things these days, for example, you may go to a retail store and want to look at reviews before you buy it, right? You may check out Amazon, the pricier the product is, the more you want to go check out reviews first before you buy it, right? So the more commitment the product needs, or the higher the budget, or more the impact of it, right? Then what you want to do is you want to find out more information before you actually buy the product. See, some time ago we took the example of buying a crane, etc. I don't know if you guys remember it, right? So we did deal with it before, and at that time we took that particular example. So you may look at let's say a competition. You may look at if they are visible. That is, you may look at what are the other nearby companies doing, right? You may check out their YouTube channel. You may check out, the people on LinkedIn, right? You may, if there are any YouTube reviews, you may want to look at those and things like that. There are a number of things that we do, but what marketer doesn't know is what's working, right? We know conversion has come, but we don't know how it has come. Right? So now let us say they're sitting, at the end of the year and at the beginning of the next year thinking, hey, how do we allocate budget, right? How much budget do we want? So for example, social media guy, he's asking for half the budget, right? Because I have to put so many people, right, to respond to all the queries on social media, so should we allocate the budget or no? On the other hand, SEO guy says, see, we have to wait for results. You cannot expect overnight results. You keep investing. This is what the SEO guy says, right? And that guy also wants budget, or guy or girl, they also want a lot of budget, right? Now there is video team, right? So that guy wants to grow. He has like 5 people team. That guy also wants more additional budget, because without budget they cannot hire more people, right? They genuinely think that there is more work there, because how much work putting together a video is, right? From conceptualization to ending, there's a lot of work. See, all these people are asking, give me more budget, give me more budget. Now this person has to decide, who should I give budget? That because so the recession is coming. Just a couple of days ago, one of the customers asked, can you do something about the budget? All right. So everyone says, hey, I want more budget. Now, how do we make this decision? See, if I want to understand who to allocate budget, I have to know what is working, right? And for us to know what is working, then we have to figure out how are people, we have to attribute our conversions to specific marketing activities. Then we would know, right, whether the SEO guy is really helping or not, right? Whether the videos that we're taking, are they helping or not? Is the support pages that we are putting, are they helping or not, right? So we need attribution. So in a non-digital world, you don't worry, right, that much. So sometimes you may see, like for example, they'll say, okay, here is the advertisement, or you have got a pamphlet, or so they'll give you something, you got some information and they give you a code, right? You have to give the code in order to get, let's say, 10% discount. I'm sure everyone knows this, right? So we have used it many, many times. And one of the reasons why they do it is they want to know whether this particular mechanism is working or not, right? So this time, so they give you 10% discount, and when they use it, they know, hey, this particular pamphlet that we use, that is what has actually led us to, this conversion, right? So they are doing attribution, so they are trying to get us to give information, right? So that they know that this particular thing has worked, all right? So that way, so essentially, overall for the entire traffic that the company gets, right, we want to attribute. And also what's required here is that, see, they also want to know in a way, what is the path that the customer takes, right? There could be impulse purchases for which, they are only trying to track the latest one, but there could be others for which they are trying to figure out, what's the path that the person is taking and how much is each of these worth. Right? So for that reason also, they would want to sort of attribute each conversion, and many times it is partial, not full, right? So for example, somebody comes to YouTube, learns about it, and then does maybe independent research, or the other way around, right? They first get a pamphlet and then they go to YouTube, find out, and maybe they then check out other things, and then eventually conversion happens after some time, and so on and so forth. Okay, all right. So that is what I think this picture very aptly describes, shows, how the path could be. Only thing is, you just multiply it 10,000 times. Okay, so then you'll get the real picture.
And also the journey that Chaitanya mentioned about, right? So that also helps in designing what kind of promotional materials or activity we should do on different platforms. On the journey, if we can see that some platform is being almost always utilized at the start of the journey, then there should be a different kind of promotion that goes there versus a platform that is almost always coming at the end of the journey. So that is also something that this attribution can help because of this the Markov chain can help, because we are seeing the journey there. And so once you build this graph, then how do you decide, so like which of these channels get more attribution? So that is done by doing something called, by calculating something called a removal effect. Okay? So let us say you take out SEO from this whole network, right? So then the lines that go from SEO to conversion are gone, right? So how much is the impact in conversion if SEO is not there? Right? So that is the removal effect of SEO. That is pretty much close to the attribution of SEO. So that is how you identify the attribution for each of the channels that you see here. Right? Now they want, so that is, so simple Markov chain, like I said, is only remembering one state. So if you are, let's say, in price comparison, then the probability of coming to price comparison depends upon the immediate previous states, what all are there, right? Now they want to try out higher order Markov chains and see how those perform for the same problem, which is the marketing attribution. Now, what is the difference between a single order Markov chain and a higher order Markov chain? A higher order Markov chain can remember multiple previous states. Okay, so a second order chain will remember the past two states. Now, if we go back to this, now the here if you see the injury, so it is dependent upon sport, right? But it doesn't tell if a person has if a person is playing a sport at beach, then how much is the chances that he'll get injured, versus if a person is playing a sport at a mountain, how much is the chance that he'll get injured, right? So the sports are different in beach and in mountain, and hence the risk of injury is also different if you're playing a beach sport versus a mountain sport, right? So that if it's a second order chain, then it'll remember the beach and the mountain as well, and then calculate the probabilities. Okay, so that is to give another example in terms of NLP. Let us say you have, I'll tell you a word, okay, and then you need to predict the next word, right? So I'll tell, the word I'm going to give you is the chances for you to predict the next word is very, very low, because almost impossible, right? Any word can come after the, right? Now I'll give you the past two words against the, right? Now it narrows down something, right? Against the wall, against the floor, right? So you have limited the number of words that can come next, and the predictive probability also goes up to certain number of words. Now I'll give you the third word, swim against the. So the next word would be
Flow.
Sorry, Jagdish.
Swim against the flow, like if
Flow, yeah,
current or flow, yeah.
Swim against the tide, right? Now it narrows down even more, right? So that is how Markov chains, higher order chains can help, right? By remembering the previous stages more, the predictive accuracy can go up. Okay, that's an example. So now they, in this paper, they have tried modeling first order, second order, third order, and fourth order chains. Right? So let's go to see the results. So here is the results. So for the 4 data sets that we saw, right, the solid line is the first order chain. The dotted one is the second, and the more dotted it becomes, the higher order it goes to. Right? So almost always you see, when we move from first order to second order, there's a huge improvement in terms of area under the curve, right, in all the data sets. And it also improves a little bit furthermore when you go from second to third, but it's not that great, except for in data set 1 and 3. In 2 and 4, sorry, in 1 and 4 it has gone up a bit. In 2 and 3 it has not gone up that bit, right? But third to fourth there is not much improvement. And the computational speed or the time it takes, right, the algorithmic efficiency, it takes more time for higher order chains, So you might want to strike a balance in between the time you need to compute versus the results you get, right? In this case, it is very clearly seen that the first to second itself gives you more or less what you want. And if you're running after accuracy and you are chasing it vigorously, then you can take the third order chain, right? That will give you almost 99.99% of what the fourth order gives you as well, right? You can get the same results. So that is what they're trying to tell here, and they've shown that the higher order chains are definitely performing better for attribution use case, right? So let us go below. Yeah, so here are the AUC. So you have out of sample results, DS1, 2, 3, 4. These are data sets, and these are different models. First order, second order, third order, fourth order. Last click wins and first click wins are heuristics. So basically, in your journey, so whatever is the first channel on your journey, you assign the 100% attribution to that channel. That is first click wins. Last click wins, you assign the 100% attribution of the conversion to the last channel on the journey, right? So logit is another model. All right. So if you look at this, it is 0.73, 0.82, 0.83, 82, 74, 73, and 81. So basically here it is third order is higher, 0.83, and so. And this is top decile lift, and this is also another metric that you can use similar to AUC. So here you just take a look at the first 10% of the data alone. After sorting it by the prediction value, you take a look at the top 10% alone, and you see how it compares, right? So here again it is higher on the third order. It is it's higher on the fourth order, 5.29, right? That's everything. That is pretty much. So given our evaluation results, we use third order in a comparison, and that is what they've used to do these further analysis. So here they've given the attribution results for the different data sets for different models. So what are the different channels and how much is the attribution? And if you see here, so they have taken only the third order from the Markov chains, and others are all remaining models. So if you see here, it is almost the first or the second step that gets the highest attribution, almost. So here it is 46, 53, 56, 54, right? So here you see, so SE is the second step, and this is the first step here, 40, and here it is split across the 2 in this data set, in fact across the 3, right? And here it is across the first 2. So that is also another one learning. So basically, so it can change for different industries or businesses, right? What works for different businesses will differ. That's why you see it is different across the four data sets, because they're different businesses. But one common thing that you can actually notice is that the first 2 or 3 steps gets the most attribution compared to the remaining ones, right? So the higher order models outperform existing heuristics and logit model regarding predictive accuracy. That's the conclusion. Yep, so that's pretty much what it is.